Alright, I'm going to show you what deadweight loss is using Bill and Dave's trade as an example. First, I'll draw a downward sloping demand curve. That's Bill, the buyer, and an upward sloping supply curve, which is Dave, who's the seller. Where they meet, that's the equilibrium, the point where Bill and Dave both agreed to trade. Bill gets a deal because he was willing to pay more than the price. That's his consumer surplus. Dave also benefits because he sells for more than it costs him. That's his producer surplus. Together, those two triangles, consumer and producer surplus, show the total benefit from trade. Everyone's happy. This is between the trade of Dave and Bill. But, things can happen. And now let's say, something ends up blocking some of these trades, like some sort of a rule or a limit on how much can actually be sold. So that's where this new graph shows how the small triangles between the old and new quantities kind of gets lost, which is called the deadweight loss. It's the value of Bill and Dave's trade that should have happened, but they don't. Nobody gets it. It's just gone. So deadweight loss is just that. All right. Now let's talk about the difference between an excise tax and a lump sum tax. And I'll draw it as I go. First, I'm drawing a candy bar. This is my product. Now, for an excise tax, it means there's a set amount of tax on each unit you buy. So I'll draw 3 candy bars and label each one with a $3 tax. This shows that the more candy you buy, the more total tax you pay. Every single candy bar gets hit with its own $3 tax. So the tax keeps adding up based on how many you buy. It's per unit, not one total. Now, it's also can be a different situation with the lump sum tax. So now over here, I'm going to be drawing a door. This represents a lump sum tax. Think of it like paying $10 entry fee to get into a candy store. So you pay the $10 fee and you go inside and you eat as much as candy as you want. There's no extra tax per bar. So the key difference is that an excise tax depends on how much you buy, and a lump sum tax is a one-time flat fee, if that makes sense. So for lump sum tax, everyone pays the same no matter how much they consume. Each item adds more for an excise tax. All right, now I'm going to be drawing my supply and demand graph to show how an excise tax works. So for this, I'll start off by showing the price and the quantity, and I'll show also how the supply and demand works. Now, with this, you'll need to draw relatively inelastic demand curves. It's steep because buyers still want the product even if the price goes up, and the unit elastic supply curve, which is less steep, means that the producer's costs rise evenly as they make more. When these two meet, they have the equilibrium price, which is PE, and my equilibrium quantity, which is QE. After the tax, the new equilibrium quantity drops, so it's on the left of QE. Buyers now pay a higher price, that's PB. Sellers receive a lower price after tax, that's PS. So in the end, the tax pushes buyers prices up and sellers' prices down, splitting burden between them. Now, based on my graph, buyers pay a greater portion of the tax. You can see my demand curve is relatively inelastic, which means buyers don't change how much they buy. Even when the prices increase, they still need it. So when the tax is added, the price buyers pay PB goes up a lot, while the price sellers receive PS only goes down a little. That shows buyers are taking on most of the burden. In short, the side that's less elastic always pays more of the tax because they're less responsive to the price changes. Here, that's the buyers. Demand is inelastic, so buyers end up paying more and sellers end up paying less. So tax goes mostly to the buyer's pay. Thank you.